All my Sagittarius friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2025 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Sagittarius, I'm referring to Sagittarius rising and the Sagittarius first house dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Sagittarius sun and Sagittarius moon, but the house structure will not be the same. If you don't know your rising sign, you can go to any one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time and location of birth to determine that information. Also, when I refer to a day and a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone, so please adjust for your location. Two more quick things. I did yearly videos for each rising sign, and I put chapters for each month. So you can go back and look for those. That way you can project ahead and look behind if that so serves you. Also, tomorrow is February 5th. These are a little tardy getting these out. I will be doing a live tarot card readings for the audience based on your specific questions. That's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. It's on a first come, first serve basis. You'll just type your question in the chat and we'll do our best to get to you. If you decide you want to donate through Super Chat or Super Thanks, you move to the head of the class. All right, let's jump in because today, February 4th, Venus has moved into Aries. Jupiter is moving direct. And there we are starting to get ready for a big stellium in Pisces. There will be a full moon on the 12th at 5:53 a.m. The sun will be conjunct Mercury. I think this is going to be significant, and I'll be doing a separate video for both the full moon and the new moon. I do those every month. We also have the new moon in Pisces on the 27th of February at 4:44 a.m. So you might want to make a note of that. And now I'm going to pull up the chart and look at some of the other things that are going on. Okay, so for my Sagittarius, the first thing I want to point out is that Venus is at the 0 degree. She's moved into Aries. This is your 5th house of romance, personal pleasure, entertainment, children, the conception of children. The 5th house rules the high school years when we first have that rush and excitement of being sort of an adult, but not. And we're very engaged in experiencing so many things that bring us pleasure. So as Venus is at that very pivotal, the 0 degree of Aries is literally the soul coming into the physical as the most co-creative potential, because that's what the soul sees at that 0 degree is potential. It's very brave and very pioneering. So I think this is going to be very powerful. Venus is going to move through your 5th house to the 10th degree, and then she's going to retrograde in early March and move back into Pisces. And Pisces is your 4th house of home, hearth, of your home experience, your country of origin, etc. This Venus is technically in detriment in Aries, and yet as an intuitive astrologer, I kind of feel like this is an old story. Yes, the unconscious Venus in Aries can be hot-headed, can be overly independent, can be even aggressive. And yet at the same time, the feminine energy is very self-actualized in this modern times. And I think this gives Venus an opportunity to exercise her bravery and her own personal heroism or heroinism, meaning Venus is really not a female. She represents the feminine. And so here, this is an opportunity to really receive what you want, to be brave in birthing your talents out into the world and sort of claiming that 5th house pleasure, that 5th house enjoyment, that childlike expression out into the world. We also see that Jupiter, and Jupiter is also in detriment, is in Gemini. And Gemini is your 7th house of partnerships, of harmony, peace, of it's a contractual house where professional partnerships are housed as well as personal. And Jupiter has moved direct at 11 degrees and will stay at 11 degrees for quite some time, almost the whole month before moving forward. And I think this is significant because the 11th degree represents to me a couple of things. First of all, it's the Aquarian degree. So there's a potential through the expansion of my beliefs that I move into a more authentic space in my partnerships. And then I align my thoughts, 11 being the master number of thought, that supports the harmony and the co-creation within those relationships. I also, on this day, note that we've got 28-degree North Node, a 28-degree Neptune, and the month started with Venus at 28 degrees. So this reduces down to a 10. To me, a series of ones is always making me aware that my thoughts are things and they're manifesting very quickly. So the other thing that I think is pretty powerful as we start this month is Mars is squaring Chiron in Aries. And again, Aries is your 5th house, and Mars is in Cancer. Cancer is your 8th house of transformation, of other people's money, and a very deep psychological imprint. Sometimes I think that the 8th house, the psychological imprint is so embedded in the subconscious that it's something we're not aware of, and yet it is not, sometimes it's a very toxic psychological imprint. So with Mars, the planet of individuality, squaring its own home sign, and with Chiron representing the wound that we carry that is then transformed into the gift, there is a real opportunity for my Sagittariuses to birth a more authentic version of themselves, but not because they've pushed in action, but because they've been aware of their emotional body. Mars is not in its best in Cancer, it's in fall, and it's being required to slow down in this retrograde long enough to connect to that deep emotional, nurturing, supportive energy, and to identify whether or not it's coming from the internal as well as the external. Okay, let's go now to the 10th, where we're going to see Uranus, who has stationed at 23 degrees. Uranus was at 23 degrees of Taurus in December, retrograde. And on the 19th, is the 19th of December, 2024, is when it hit the 23rd degree. It will remain, first it was in retrograde, now it's moving forward at the 23rd degree until March 12th, 2025. Taurus is your 6th house of work, of service to others, of your health. That 23rd degree is the Aquarian degree, liberation, rebellion, unexpected things happening, actually focusing on a bigger picture of things, meaning the cosmic consciousness, and maybe even planning for my future. I think this is really important for my Sagittarius is because right now there is a square to your 3rd house. Mercury naturally rules the 3rd house, and then we see the sun here. This is a temporary and quick transit, but it's a powerful one because the square in some way is going to compel Mercury and the sun to reevaluate my thoughts and my ego, and how do I push those out? How does my potentially negative self-talk inadvertently create experiences that I don't want to have? And I don't think actually Sagittarius is a naturally negative, but we all have a loop in our head at one point or another. We have, when we're invested in something, it often can trigger fears and doubts and insecurities. And I think that's what Uranus does as Mercury and the sun are squaring it. And then as Mercury moves into Pisces, there's going to be an opportunity to really, think about how I want to, there's so many different variations of what Mercury can represent. It's thinking, speaking, writing, teaching. It is the media, journalism, your emails, all sorts of communications. It's your roadways, it's your escalators, it's anything that moves you from here to there. So as it moves into your fourth house, you're going to have a variety of opportunities to assess things, and to look at things from potentially your soul's perspective, which is what I think Uranus is challenging you to do right now. On the 14th is when Mercury actually moves into your fourth house of Pisces, and the 18th, the sun will enter Pisces following Mercury. I'm now going to go to the 24th. And here we see Mars is in a trine in Cancer. We click on Mars to Mercury and Saturn. And this is where, we still see the square. It's loosening up a bit. I think at 1 to 3 degrees is really the most intense influence. And then as we get to 4 and 5, it kind of starts to ease off. And then over 5, it starts widening. So the idea of the self, the wound of self, or the transformation of the wound is supported by Mercury now and Saturn. Mercury will be exact on the 25th, but right now this is sort of the beginning of that stellium, because as I said, Mercury is going to move forward, and then in March it's going to retrograde back through this sign. So there's going to be a lot of thoughts about how I project my creativity, how I interact with the divinity, my religious beliefs, how my history, even my soul's history, the elders in my life, the older people, how those things affect me. It's going to be very, well, you'll see. I'm going to go to the 25th, and then I'm going to go to the 28th. And you'll see the whole convergence. So we go on the 25th, we see the exact conjunction here. It is supporting Mars being brave. Mars has now moved forward. Mars can't really honestly wait to get out of Cancer. Cancer being your 8th house. Mars just does not like to have to deal with some of the more intense emotions. And I think they have to do with gooiness and warmth, and Mars is much more comfortable with the more angry and volatile emotions and passionate emotions. The 8th house is also a house of sex. So Mars can sometimes display its emotions through sex. But here Mars is reviewing a lot of how, its individual energies are being supported or not supported, how they've held him back, and how now through this Piscean energy and that fourth house of home, you're going to get an opportunity to assess things and where you want to be literally moving forward into the future. We see on the 25th that Venus has gotten to her 10th degree. This is as far as she's going to go. She's now stationing. So she's holding in the sky, really, really starting to think about her skills, her talents, the things that she wants to experience in the way of joy, and the retrograde that she does that will be supported by Neptune. It may be a little bit exhausting. You may want to, because she is retrograding back into her exaltation. And Mercury here is going to be thinking about all the things that have historically happened. And really, I believe it's very polarizing. Some people will fall very prey to this and want to escape. Some addicts may fall out of sobriety, and others may find a sense of divinity and a sense of connection with their soul and their spirit that redefines their life from this point forward. It's that intense, honestly. Let's go to the 28th. And there you see it. We still see Venus here. We see all these planets, the sun and the moon, have just had their connection, and the new moon. They'll move on out. And we see this kite formation here with what I think is sort of the bottom of the kite being the south node, which is in Virgo at the 27th degree, representing my thoughts, my things, and asking me to master my awareness of them so that I can decide whether or not this earthly thought actually moves me forward or inadvertently tethers me to an old experience. So I think this is going to be super powerful in the sense of this Mercury and North Node. Obviously, the North Node is always in opposition to the South Node, but here the thoughts will be, am I allowing myself to evolve beyond what has been? Am I willing to, quote unquote, let go? I like to think of as integrate the energies so that I no longer feel victim of them. So much of the human experience is based on potential. And as Saturn moves through Pisces, it doesn't want potential. It wants endurance and sustainability, things that can be counted on, that can be seen. So Saturn is anchoring in this stellium and really has been since it moved into Pisces in, I think, late 2023. So it's a big month in the sense of teeing up our eclipse season and the retrogrades that will happen in March. Can be a lot going on. So prepared, forewarned is forearmed, as they say. So my Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can join me tomorrow afternoon. I'm thinking about making this a weekly thing. We're doing a poll, me and all my personalities right now, to see if people would like a weekly live tarot readings on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. So if you would, please go to the poll and click on that. And please like, please subscribe, please share, and please come back next month because we'll have a lot to talk about. All right, my Sagittarius, have a wonderful February. Bye-bye.